Hey, Algebra. Sorry I'm not there today. I have a sick kid at home, so I'm going to go through and work through these notes with you if you just want to follow along. I've already taken the opportunity to write down the first two definitions that I want you to have. The numerator, which is the top number of a fraction, and the denominator, which is the bottom number of a fraction. So go ahead and write those down. If you need to pause to do that, go ahead, and then when you're done, you can go on, unpause, and we'll go to the next example. All right, so the question for this first one is, what is the numerator? And I'm going to write the numerator is 3. And then the next, so I'm going to highlight that as well. And then the next question is, what is the denominator? And the denominator is 7. If we look at the definition from up above, it's the bottom number. All right, so far so good. And anytime if you need to pause this to go back and write down the information I'm sharing, go right ahead. So this next question is asking what the fraction represented by the figure is. And if we look, we have 2 filled in spaces. So that's going to be a 2, okay, over. And then I need to find the total. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total. So that means the denominator, which is all of the parts, is 6. Now, if you're wondering, you will need to be simplifying fractions in here, but I'm going to try to make it a little easier. So I'm going to go over to my calculator, which is linked on our Canvas homepage. And if you were to type in 2 divided by 6, it's going to give you this number over here, which is a big decimal. But if I click that button right there, it gives me in fraction form. So I'm going to write that 1/3 is my simplified fraction. So 1 over 3. That will be my answer for this problem. Okay? Now, if I keep scrolling down, I'm going to simplify this fraction. So we could go by the way that if you look at both of these numbers, I know just off the top of my head I can divide both of these by 9. So if you were to do it that way, you divide both by 9. And then you would end up getting that this fraction equals, you know what? Scratch that. Don't erase that. I'm going to do this a different way. We're going to go the simple route. What you're going to do is you're going to take this number right here, this fraction, okay? And I'm going to write down plug into Desmos calculator. If I do that, I have 36, and then I do divided by, because that makes the fraction, 54. And then I'm going to click that fraction button, and I get that that is 2/3. So that means 36 over 54 simplifies to 2 over 3. Okay, I'm going to write over here, I'm going to put an arrow, and I'm going to put that these, the word we're going to look at it, are equivalent. And I'm not sure I spelled equivalent right, fractions. And equivalent means same. All right, so I'm going to simplify this fraction again, do the same thing. I'm going to use Desmos, and I know that if I'll type it into Desmos so you can see, that would be 25 division sign 35. And I get that number, 0.71. Click on the fraction button. I get 5/7. So that simplified is 5 over 7. And I'm going to put a box around it. Okay? Now we're going to multiply fractions too. Again, we're going to take the shorter route, and we're going to use our calculator. This is the way you type those in. Okay? I'm going to do a parenthesis, and I'm going to type that first fraction, which was 2/5. So I do 2, whoops. I do a parenthesis, and then I do 2 divided by 5. And then I click and end my parenthesis. And then I'm going to open another parenthesis, and I'm going to do 1 divided by 12. And doing it this way, it allows me to have a fraction. So if I click, I have 1/30. So that is my answer. This equals 1/30. Okay, so we're just using our calculators, trying to keep it simple, and go from there. We have one more example, and then I'll set you free to do your stuff. You're going to cross out the x on this one. It makes it a lot more complicated. We're not going to do that just yet. And again, we're going to use our calculator. All right, so I'm going to type in 3/13 times 1/2. So parentheses 3 divided by 13. Now you got to click, you can click this over button, end your parentheses, open a new one. I don't remember the other fraction, 1/2. And then I'm going to do 1. Oh, I got to start over. Whoops. 3/13 times 1/2. And I get that, and I make that a fraction, and it's 3/26. So that is my answer, 3/26. Put a box around it, and I'm all done. So there is a IXL that is linked on Canvas that I'd like you to try. Try to get a SMART score 80. Do your best on it, and I will see you tomorrow.